job today. Ooh, my camera's fogging up pretty quick here. Hot, muggy day in South Carolina. Lots of rain last night. Coffee spilling everywhere here. I've got a long list of stuff that we need to start today. So we're taking an old established landscape and we are beautifying it. We're totally turning it around. So what I'm gonna do today, provided that it's not raining too hard, I'm gonna go in and gut out a lot of plants, rearrange some stuff, take some old holly trees and lollipop them and make them look good. Just try to give this new property more of a southern landscape. All right guys, we're here at our job. Now we're gonna refer to this job as the Schmidtz job from here on out. And basically it's gonna get an entire transformation. So my job here today is to clean through this left side of the driveway. You can see they've got some nice creeping fig on the wall that needs nice and shaved up. The client wants to keep that. And we've also got these nice established holly trees here. And what we're gonna do is actually lollipop them. So we're gonna take the girth of the material off the bottom and shape them up into a nice presentation just like the client wants. Now there is a ton of work to be done on this property in general. You can see that there's very old established plant material here. The majority of this material is going to be taken out, and we actually have US Lawns coming in to do the bulk of the rip out. So I'm doing the fine tuning, the gardening, the planting. I've got the expertise, the irrigation expertise, the hardscape, the landscape experience. So basically we're going to transform this entire property. You can see that they've got some existing jasmine creeping up the stairs. We're gonna keep some of that, and we've got a bit more right here too. Just needs a little bit of a haircut here. So I'm gonna get to work. Like I said, today I'm gonna be starting on the left side of the driveway here with the sago and working my way down through these holly trees. All of these old Indian hawthorn plants are going to be completely removed, and we're going to have all of this bed prepped and ready for new plants. So this is phase 1. There will be a phase 2, a phase 3, and then eventually all of our new plants will go in. Stay tuned. We've got the first hour underway. What I've done is I cleaned up all the boots on this palm tree, and I used the weed whip to just basically grind off all the little pieces of husk. So I've got my pile here. I've cleaned up this sago palm so that it looks nice and proper. Cleaned out all the babies that were underneath. I chewed up all this grass like you guys saw with the weed whip, and I'm going to use a rake and just kind of rake it smooth. The next part of the job will be hand digging out these Indian hawthorn plants, which are not surviving very well as it is. So it shouldn't be that hard to dig them out. So once we get those Indian hawthorn plants out, we're going to go back through and grade the material on the bottom so that it's ready for planting in the future, and then we'll go ahead and do what's going to be, I think, my favorite part here, trimming up these holly trees. This last tree is going to be very interesting. It doesn't actually have, it does have a main trunk here, but it's also got about 5 or 6 other babies that have shot up over time. So I think the girth of this material up top is not actually this main stump. So we're basically going to have to pick and choose what we want to use as our main trunk of the tree. And then of course we're going to go ahead and trim the jasmine. I think I'll wait to do the jasmine till the end, just so I can get these hollies off the wall a little bit. So the goal for today is to completely take care of all the prep work on the left side of the driveway. Okay, we have ripped out the Indian hawthorns and we've got most of this bed prepped underneath the plant material. So the next step here is to lollipop these holly trees. So I'm gonna set the camera down in a time-lapse mode and just show you guys exactly what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna start by trimming the overall shape of the plant, and then we'll go ahead in there with some loppers and selectively lop and prune the actual lollipop of the tree. So check it out. Holly tree. This was actually the best looking tree. You can see it's lacking a little bit of material here in the back, but all this is going to grow in now that it has the chance for the sunlight to hit it. And most importantly, this is what the client is looking for. It's a beautiful way to train a holly tree, and she's got tons more good landscaping that's going to go in alongside with it. Lots of boxwood hedges, beautiful topiary stuff. So we're gonna try to get the other two trees to match that first tree. This one won't be too bad, but like I mentioned before, this third one is gonna be very interesting. It's got lots of different shoots coming off. It may not look quite as good as these first two, but over time it'll grow into a beautiful. Is not as full as the first tree. It's just because as I selectively took these limbs off, a lot of them are crossed up in between the plant, which is a big no-no. You always prune out the branches that are intertwining or crossing each other through the middle of the plant. And so we ended up with a couple of holes here, but this is gonna grow in nicely. So we've got our first two trees done here. Both of the canopies are sitting at the same height. They're lollipopped just like the client wants. And I've been trimming the jasmine along the I've been trimming the climbing fig as I go. So I'm about to put the GoPro on the chest mount here and just do a time lapse of the rest of the wall. And then I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I'm gonna detail this last plant right here. This is gonna be very interesting, and I think you guys will be pretty interested to see how it's done. The expectation is for it to look as close as possible to these first two here. We'll see what we can get. We'll do our best shot here. These were some very established trees. You could tell they were 20-foot trees that were just absolutely lopped in half at one point. So your main stock here is about 4 inches thick, 3 or 4 inches thick. So very interesting landscaping here, but we're gonna get it looking good. All right guys, phase 1 is complete. We'll show you what we did here. All 3 of these holly trees have been lollypopped. The creeping fig on the wall has all been trimmed up, nice and neat. We cleared out all the Indian hawthorn and all of that grass and all the weeds. Put a nice new bed edge in here, so we've got our blank slate. And we've got a small pile of debris here, which will be a part of phase 2. We've got the sago palm all cleaned up, all the babies pulled out of the bottom of it. And then all of these palm tree boots here have been cleaned up and shaved off. So we've got a nice appearance from the house. So this was 5 hours worth of work. Oh, and we also pulled some weeds along here. So next time we're going to be working on the right side of the property. There's a good amount of plants that need ripped out and a lot of new plants going in. And you can see this sago palm needs a lot of work here. So we'll be back on Friday for phase 2. Hope you guys like this video. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you for phase 2.